So in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can buy 5 rental properties in the next 2 years. But one thing I need to make sure is abundantly clear. You need to know how to find off-market discounted properties where typically the seller is motivated to sell you a property at a discount. Doesn't have to be a crazy discount, but a slight discount. So what is the strategy here and how do we do it? So the first step is called the BRRRR method, right? So you need to buy a house. Ideally, for me, the way I do it is I use other people's money to buy houses. And then the second part of the BRRRR is you need to rehab that property, again, ideally using other people's money. I don't ever use my own money for these deals. So buy, rehab, rent the property out to a tenant. So then you're gonna place a tenant into the property that'll pay you monthly income, so then you can cover your mortgage payment. And then you gotta go and you gotta refinance this property with a bank, because when you refinance it with a bank, the bank will give you a new loan. And I'm gonna break numbers down here in a second so you can see exactly how this works. A new loan, which then pays off your original private money lenders. So now all you have is a mortgage payment you gotta pay the bank that gets paid by your tenants from the rent income. And then if you can do this and you can get a house without using any of your own money, why not go out there and repeat the process time and time and time again? So let's jump into some exact examples so you can see how this works. So here's a real scenario of a real house that I've done this deal on. So I went out and I bought this property for $100,000 and I had to put $30,000 into the rehab of this deal. So I borrowed $130,000 from a private money lender to fund this entire deal. That's how I did it, but there's actually 2 different ways that you can do a deal like this. Number 1 is to raise private money like this, or number 2 is to use what's called a hard money lender to fund this deal. Private money, you can get this deal 100% funded from other people. Hard money, they're always gonna want you to have some skin in the game. So they might want you to have, let's call, 20% as a down payment. So 20% of 130 grand is $26,000. And then they'll give you the other $104,000 to go out there and buy and renovate this house. So it depends where you're at and what type of strategy you want to use to fund this deal. So then after I buy it and renovate it, I got to take it to a bank to refinance it. So let's say after the work is done, after I bought it and renovated it, it's worth, I put in $130,000. Say the ARV on this property is now $180,000. So I'm all in for 130 and the ARV is $180,000. When I go to the bank to refinance this, they're actually going to give me a cash out refinance based on the new value of the property. So on the refi, the lender, the bank, is going to give you $135,000 cash out. So you're going to take, depending how you funded this thing, you're going to take that 135 and pay off the 130 you owe plus interest. So you're going to owe about $135,000. You pay off your lenders, or if you're doing hard money, kind of same scenario, you take the 135, you pay off your lenders, you take the additional money and you put it into your own pocket because you're reimbursing yourself for that 20% down payment. So the cool thing about using this strategy, if you followed me on the math here, again, I now own these properties with very little to none of my own money. So how do you buy 5 houses in 2 years? If you're getting these deals funded 100% by other people, you can do 5 houses in a year, or you can do 3 houses this year and 2 next year, 4 and 1, however you want to do it, because it's not your money. All you got to do is go out and find the deals. Now, if you're using hard money to fund these deals, it depends on how much cash you have available to yourself right now. If you got $50,000 in the bank, you can do 2 of these deals, potentially, depending on the exact numbers of the deal. You can do that because that $50,000 can be used as down payments across these deals. So you do this, takes 6, 7, 8 months, you cash out refinance, you pay everybody back, and then you use the money that you already used on the first round of deals on the second round of deals, and you do it again for another 8 months. Now you have 4, and now you're almost at your 5 houses in 2 years. So as you buy these rental properties, there's really 2 ways to manage them going forward. So either way on this scenario, you do everything we just did exactly how we said it. Now, once you have these properties, 2 ways to handle it. Either use debt for the next 20 to 25 years, depending on your loan term, or to pay off these properties as quickly as possible to increase your cash flow. And here's how it breaks down. Your rent on both scenarios, $1,500 a month. Property taxes, $150, insurance, $100. Your principal and interest payment is the monthly payment you make to the bank for the next 20, 25 years, depending on how you got the deal financed, for them giving you the money. So that's principal and interest, $750. So on this scenario, you're making about $500 a month, outside of vacancies and repairs. So this scenario, let's assume that you pay this property off, that principal and interest payment goes to 0 because you no longer have a mortgage on the property. So your income goes from $500 a month to $1,250 a month. So obviously you want more cash flow, $1,250 a month, But the caveat here is that you're gonna have to take $135-ish thousand of money that you could be doing whatever you want with just to pay off the debt on this property to make an extra $750 a month. So 2 scenarios, it depends where you're at. If you want my opinion, what am I doing with my personal portfolio? I'm taking this route because this property will pay it for itself eventually over the next 20 to 25 years. The rent's gonna come in, and then I'm gonna pay the mortgage expense for the next 20 to 25 years. I'm young, right? I'm still trying to build for the future. I got a lot ahead of me and I'm trying to grow this. I don't want 1 or 3 or 5 properties. I want 500 properties, right? So I wanna use the extra cash that I have coming in to go out there and buy more real estate, right? Again, my personal preference, I'm using debt because inevitably, no matter what happens, this will get paid off by the time I'm 40, 45 years old. I'm good with that. Now, the other option is for me to take all the income, right? I own about 100-ish properties. And if you own 1 or 5 or 10 properties, take all the additional income that you make from rental properties and from your job and pay as much as possible every single month into this property until you pay it off, right? It might take you, 3, 5, 7, 10 years to, make 135 grand to pay this property off. And eventually it's going to go to zero. So as soon as this property's paid off, you're going to be making a lot more money every single month than I am. But you put so much money into that property, in my opinion, that you weren't able to continue to grow your portfolio the way you would want to because that extra income now is not available to grow the portfolio. So again, 2 different ways to handle this. Depends where you're at in your life. If you're looking to retire and all you want is 100% cash flow, pay everything off. Your cash flow will go through the roof, right? If you're young, maybe like me, and you want to build for the future, right? Use debt, use leverage, because this will be paid off in 20 to 25 years, depending on how you financed your loan. And it will go here. It's just going to take 20 to 25 years to happen. So for me, I'm taking the extra money and I'm going to go out there and I'm going to keep stacking house after 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 house, etc., and build a huge rental portfolio. So when I am 45 years old, I'm not making $1,250 on 1, 2, or 3, or 4, or 5 houses. I'm making $1,250 a month on hundreds of houses. So comment below and let me know what strategy you're thinking about. And if you want to learn how to use other people's money, like we just talked about, how to raise money from other people, private money lenders, to fund all of your real estate deals so you can do this without having to use your own money, check out this next video.